Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 42nd episode of the PokéSells official podcast. My name is Rocco Mitchell, and I'm your host. And today I am here with Evan, also known as Wes Collects. This is kind of like a really short notice podcast. So, again, thank you, Evan, for
Of
coming on
course,
to
brother.
this
Of
very
course, man.
short
Happy to be
notice.
here. Thank you for having me.
And so without further ado, let's just hop right into it. If you could just introduce yourself for those at home.
Yeah, man. So, like you said, you very graciously introduced me. My name is Evan, also known as West Collects. People call me West. Wes. I really don't care. You can call me whatever you want. But yeah, I'm a local vendor in the Tampa area. So Tampa, Florida. I met you, Rocco. I met you at Atlanta, was it right? It was
Yes.
Atlanta, yeah. So I was there for a Collecticon. So I just really started, traveling, taking this a little bit more seriously. But I do this full time. I make YouTube videos, TikToks, Instagram, all that stuff. So yeah, just trying to make it out here, man. A little small
Mhm.
content creator. So that's a kind of my deal. I've been vending since like February, but I want to say like the content and stuff like that has been pretty consistent ever since I want to say like March or April. I like bought the camera. But yeah, that's kind of my deal.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I
Yeah.
um I have a lot of so I used to live in Florida. I used to live in Miami. Obviously, I didn't do like Pokemon when I was living there. I did Pokemon when I came here to Nashville. But that's really cool. I know he's not. He used to be in Tampa, but RJS. So Reed, I know Reed.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah,
lives
yeah,
in
yeah,
Orlando. Yeah,
yeah.
he lives in Orlando now. But a lot of like good friends of mine that I've recently started to like become closer with and like meet are from the like Florida, like Tampa and Orlando area, and it's really cool because it's like if I had stayed down there, I would have probably been able to like, I would have known these people on like a different level.
Yeah, I mean, it's
But
like it's like super neat, because like obviously here everything seems so small, and then like I like saw you had slab bags on, and I was like, oh, like
Mhm,
those used to be super local guys, and now they're like going,
mhm,
they're doing all these like crazy things and meeting and collabing with all
yeah,
these cool people, and like RJS. I found out about him, and then I found that he was in Orlando, and he's with his buddies up there. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really cool people in the space down here, and it's just crazy to see, man. Because I just think that
yeah,
they're all my little local homies, but they're not. They're doing big
yeah,
things. So yeah,
yeah, exactly. But that's really cool that you obviously like started doing that and that it's down there. It's really neat.
yeah, man.
And I'm excited. Like whenever I go down now, it's like I know people that are down there.
Yeah,
But that's really cool. So yes, we did meet in Atlanta. I don't know if I went to your booth. I might have gone to your booth. I don't remember. That was a
I
while
I
ago.
I remember. I'm pretty sure I went up to. I'm pretty sure I went up to your booth, or at least I saw it. Maybe you weren't there. I saw it. I saw where you were at the very
Okay.
least. But
Okay.
but yes, yeah, because you were like by the stage. Yeah, you were like kind of like by
Yeah.
the stage. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So Atlanta was our first Collecticon, which was really cool.
yeah,
I hadn't really had traveled, like done a big travel for a show, since like in Collecticon was like kind of like that very first big show, and I loved it. It was great.
that's
And
good.
then last weekend I did Chicago, and Chicago like blew like all my expectations of Pokemon were just like blown out of the water.
It was fire though.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was like lo I don't I don't wanna say, like obviously, it's, like, kind of, like, overstatement saying life-changing show, but what I mean is, like, very, excuse me, very I was able to, like, actually, like, connect with a lot of people that I hadn't really been able to, and, like, it was, like, I finally felt like I know it was a breakthrough show, but, like, obviously we made like a good amount of sales and like
Yeah.
but I was more like networking, like I was finally able to like help people. I middlemaned a lot. I was constantly running around the venue, especially on Sunday. I was like
Yeah.
middle, like as soon as I got there, someone gave me some cards or like, can you move this around for us? I was like, sure. So I was like constantly in the loop, like trying to make sure that people were doing deals and all that type of stuff. um and it really was like, for me it was like, okay, like people actually like genuinely trust me, and like
Yeah.
they can like I can be entrusted to do like this type of stuff, and like people like see the value of like what I've been working and what I've been building with. So like it just was like a good show, and it was like, okay, now I feel like I'm like, I don't want to say like I'm one of them, but I'm like I can get to that level relatively, like I'm almost there, like I'm
Yeah.
starting.
Yeah. And I
um
mean, to that point, man, I definitely felt that way that way when I like went to my first CollectCon. But like I know Chicago wasn't your first one, but like you got a little bit more time to like do some deals with some other people, network
mhm,
stuff like that. it definitely is very interesting how you feel kind of like a part of your peers and like a part of your community when you're away from home. You know, like I'll do
Mhm,
local shows and I know everybody in the room, but it feels like more of a community when you're at collect. I mean, at least to me, because you're
mhm,
looking and like, oh, I've seen that person before. Like, oh, they've heard of me, and like I look up to them. So that I completely understand what you're saying, and it just kind of
mhm.
makes it all feel real, especially when you from Nashville, you go to Chicago. I mean, that's you probably had to fly for that, yeah,
Yeah, so I
yeah,
flew there
yeah,
and to that point where you're saying like community, especially because it was like me and a little pod of like Nashville people that went up there, like a couple,
mm-hmm.
it was like five of us. And it was like now we're all like super close because like we spent those couple of days together just doing deals and all that type of stuff.
Yeah,
And it's like you said, it was like those people that I looked up to. So for example, someone that I love watching is flipping cardboard.
yeah.
And I went up to his table. I was like, "Yo, can I get a picture? Really big fan." Blah blah blah. He's like, "Oh yeah, sure. I've seen you on the YouTube and stuff. I love all your videos. Like, keep on doing it.
That's
Like, you're
fire,
you're gonna
right?
keep
Like
like,
that's
yeah,
really cool. Yeah,
yeah." And it's like, oh wow, so someone that I like have been looking up to is like
yeah.
actually like looking at my stuff. And it's been very motivating, I guess, in a way you could say, where it's just like continue doing what you're doing and continue going
Mm-hmm.
on the journey that you're doing. And it's just really fun. It definitely opened my eyes. I'm hoping if like I'm really, really lucky, I would like to do maybe like two more. I don't know if I would be able to, but I definitely want to do like one more Collecticon before the year wraps up. It just depends on all of the situations, but it's definitely it was worth like the flying and worth the
100%,
staying and
bro.
worth all like it was worth it. Like obviously revenue wise, it was worth it, but more in the way of like I get to see my people and like I get to like be like I get to be here doing that. And if you're doing that, like it makes it. There's a moment. So it was on Saturday we had done a bunch of deals all day, and then all our vendor group went to like hibachi and stuff to eat. And when we got into hibachi, there's a group of people doing Pokemon deals.
Mm.
That were like they're part of our group, but they were doing some other Pokemon deals, and like I immediately went in and like started doing a whole bunch of deals with them and stuff like that. And it's just stuff like that where it's like it's constantly going, but it's so fun and it brings so much life and so much joy that it
Yeah.
was like it's worth it. But I don't know. So you said so you did Chicago, Atlanta. Was that your first Collecticon? You said it was your first Collecticon, correct?
No,
Or
no. So my first one was Charlotte. So since I'm from Tampa, um, kind of the way that I made it worth it in my mind was like, all right, if I can drive there, it's
Mhm,
not really that much of a hassle. Like the hardest part is getting there. Once I'm
mhm,
there, it's kind of like, your run of the mill. All right, I can set up, I know what to do. So Atlanta was my second one. And obviously, I drove to Atlanta and I had driven to Charlotte. But at the end of this month, I'm doing Houston. And that's going to be my first time like flying
mhm.
for a show, like flying for anything that has to do with this hobby.
Yeah.
So, like the logistics of that is like, okay, obviously, I can't bring my banner unless I check it, right? So figuring that out and figuring when you're going to get there and like where you're going to
Mhm,
stay and like are we going to rent a car, like that's some kind of stuff that I'm like trying to figure out because yes, I am going with two of my friends, but I mean I was the one who booked it, but I even booked it through a buddy. So that's our thing too, man, is like if you're like trying to do collecticons, like getting tables, like I know a ton of I know a ton of people, but for a show, for example, like New Jersey, when like nobody in Florida got tables, and there were multiple people that would normally get tables, would get like an entire section, they didn't get it. So like figuring
mhm.
out how to get yourself in and like just like the logistics. But yeah, I mean it was a Atlanta specifically was a really good time. I mean I know a lot of people didn't do great. Like I know my buddy
Yeah, it
lost
was
money.
slow.
It was definitely slower than Charlotte. But I mean, I have the privilege of doing well at those type of shows. Like I genuinely had no complaints because I did more trades than what's it called, Charlotte. Like I did more trades in Atlanta than Charlotte, but I sold more in
Mhm.
Charlotte. So it just really depends on like the way I look at it. But no, I mean
Yeah.
it was a blast for sure.
Yeah, and, to the flying aspect and, like, getting all the logistics, we
Yeah.
were, like, thankful enough that 2 of our 2 of the 5 or 3 of the 5 vendors that were with us were driving there. So we kind
Mm.
of loaded up all our stuff into their
That
bag
is so
for their
lucky, man.
car, and at the same time, it's like, okay, I don't wanna, like, put too much stuff in the car, so it's like they only brought, like, my banner and, like, my
Yeah.
risers and stuff like that.
Mm.
And then but regardless, it was fun. The only thing that I would recommend is to probably rent a car. because we Ubered everywhere, and obviously it can get super expensive, but also like
Yeah.
the inconvenience of being like, oh, we need to go to this, like for example, we needed stuff at the Airbnb because the Airbnb didn't have everything. So it was like, oh, but now we have to Uber it, but we couldn't because it was like super late. So we're like, okay, let's just DoorDash it. So it's like all those little expenses add up. So it's like if we had just rented a car, we would have been able to like, like drive everywhere. But that was, I think, oversight on the group and like for like both of us because it was me and my buddy who were kind of like doing all like well, mostly Jim. Jim was the one that was kind of doing all the oversight stuff for everyone.
Yeah.
But it was more of like um, we probably and he like we were talking about it afterwards. We were like, yeah, probably should have rented a car, something like that. But it's okay. At the end of the day, like it's a learning experience.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go to Houston. That was like the next one, but that's just like super close. And I was like, I don't think I could pull that off.
Yeah. I mean,
And I want,
I want to try and do like one a month or like once every other month, just like one. Cause like I do this full time. I graduated in the spring. So it's like, I feel like one a month is doable. I mean, the only thing that's tough is putting so much money away up front because you kind of got to
mhm,
book it in advance. And people want, like, I mean, especially if you can't manually hit on tables, which I have never, and I've been to 2 CollectCons and I've tried each time. So, like, if you're not manually hitting, those people want that money. They want it now. Like, they want, all right, secure it, boom, like, let's go. And then you got to start booking. So, that's really my only hang up. And also, too, like, the tables, like, I know there's people for Jersey who are paying like 900 for
yeah,
a jersey table. Like
yeah,
that's ridiculous. That is absolutely
yeah,
right. I mean, there's so
yeah.
that
That's what I
is
was gonna
also a
say.
thing.
The next show I want to do is Jersey, but it's like people are telling me tables are
That's
already
like
selling
actually
for like
impossible, bro.
1,000
Like
and
it's
stuff like that.
yeah,
And I was like, yeah, like that means so let's just say 12,000, and then to cover everything else, you're probably paying 1,500 overhead for someone that has like 10,000,
a
twenty
lot of
thousand,
inventory. Yeah,
like yeah, like $50,000 worth of inventory. It's probably not like that bad. They have maybe like a bubble mew, for example, or something like that, and they sell that off at like 90 like or 85%,
and you're
83%,
covered.
whatever it is, and they're covered like. But like for someone like me, especially like a smaller vendor, and how I'm taking it is like I load up stuff to dump at these shows, or I'm taking stuff from Collecticon and I'm dumping here. Like it's not as reasonable yet.
Yeah,
So that's why I think we're trying to hit on my Jim. He's trying to hit on the LA ones,
tomorrow.
which would be like, yeah, which would be really, really fun. Because he actually hit on Chicago. He was able to get them. Um, but if he gets them for LA and I can make that work, I think it would be really cool. It would be during my winter finals. So not winter finals, but like first semester finals, I think end like the day before. So I would be
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. It's
taking
like that
finals,
weekend.
leaving.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
I'd be
literally that
like,
weekend. Yeah,
yeah, I'd be like ending school, I think that Thursday or that Friday, and then hopping on a plane that evening to go to LA and do all that stuff, which I think would be really fun.
yeah,
But travel wise, flying, something that helps me is literally, so I don't know what like if you have like what case you use to do stuff. So I was lucky enough to get one of these from a buddy of mine. So I bought like the Zion titanium cases.
yeah.
Um, I was able to get one of those for like relatively cheap. Um, so that counts as my suitcase, and I just packed a duffel bag and a backpack. And my duffel bag was my carry-on because for like stuff like price guns and all weird, there's like weird TSA stuff where you have to like put stuff in your duffel bag to like check it in and stuff like that. So
Interesting.
I don't know what you're taking, but
No,
it was definitely fun.
I think I'm just gonna rip. So I have something. I got like the low Zion, like the like the briefcase. I
Hmm.
don't got
Yeah,
I don't got the suitcase. I think I'm just gonna put that in like a tote bag, and then put like my Switch on top as like my personal item, and then just like, pack like a carry on because I got to carry just pack a carry on. Genuinely, my banner. I don't know. I mean, I was contemplating buying like one of those tension banners that I could put in like my carry on, like one on Amazon. I could just like buy one of those tension banners on Amazon, put it to my carry on, and then it should be good. But or just no banner. I mean, I might just who knows? Because I'm in the back anyway. Like if you're coming to see me, you would already know that I was there. You know what I'm saying? Like so, I
yeah,
don't know.
exactly.
Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. It's just very it's interesting.
Mm,
And it's like all this logistical stuff is fun. And like obviously like starting to do it because after high school I want to do this like full time while I'm doing some other stuff here.
yeah,
Um, so that's kind of like what I'm looking like. I'm getting to like test it all out now for not for free, obviously, but I have less risk in testing it
Right.
out now, and it's been
Yep.
very, very cool. And it also makes sense now for me, like why, like, those like huge vendors, they bring like four people with like, and everyone has like two Zion cases, and then one guy has a super big suitcase with all their clothes or whatever. Like it makes sense. And now I'm like starting to see like all these like the strategies and all the stuff that people do.
Yeah.
But it's been really fun, and I hope you have a good time in Houston. Like I said, I really wanted to go to that show, but I don't
Well,
know
I'll
if I
probably
probably
see
won't
you
be
in
able to.
LA, man. I mean, I've kind of committed to like because I've been wanting to go out there for shows for a while now. So I've
Hmm.
kind of committed like regardless of how much that costs,
Hmm.
I'm gunning it. So
Yeah,
if you and I get lucky enough to hit on some tables, and I will definitely see that, brother, for sure.
that's awesome. Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Talking more about like you as a like collector and stuff. The first like one of the first questions I like to ask every guest is kind of like, what's your Pokemon story? Like, kind of like how like what's your Pokemon journey or Pokemon story outside of
Yeah,
vending?
yeah. So I'll oh man, I I want to say, well, first off, my first Pokemon game. So I've played every Pokemon game since I want to say like Black and White 2. Like
Mm.
I played Black and White 2. I didn't beat it, but every other one I've like beat except for Legends Arceus. I will say I did not fully beat that one. But anyways, so I my those were like my first games, and that's kind of like my era. And obviously before that, before I played the games, I like collected the TCG. So I would probably say when I got into it, or what I remember opening as a kid was Dragons Exalted, Dark
Mhm.
Explorers, Black
Yeah.
and White base, like that like Black and White era. That was when I was collecting. Like I remember ripping a Legendary Treasures box back in the day. Like that was my kind of era.
Mhm.
But I feel like
That's awesome.
every collector, and like you'd probably know this since you ask this question every time. I feel like every collector has that story of like how they lost all of their childhood cards, or their
Yeah.
mom gave them away, or the dog ate them. So I have, and it's kind of sad, I have zero cards from my childhood. Zero. I had
Mhm.
a couple, but starting out as a vendor, that's kind of like the first things that you sell, right? Is like some of your
Mhm.
PC. So I had to part with that, and one of those things, it was a PSA 8 Mega Rayquaza secret from Ancient Origins. No, sorry, it was a PSA
Oh,
9 that I graded myself.
wow.
I held it for 10 years, and
That's
then
crazy.
I graded and sold it. At the time it was 800. Now it's like 4K, but I digress. That's just kind of the world we live in. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I remember collecting and ripping. But yeah, I don't have any of that stuff. I mean, I have some of my old Pokemon games, but I don't have any of the old cards. I used to trade them on the cul-de-sac in my neighborhood. They're probably all damaged anyway. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of my story. I'd probably say I've been in it. It's like 2012 is pretty reasonable. So a little bit over 10 years now. So
That's cool. That's awesome. Thank you for that. And yeah, most of the guests that I have on have definitely had their collections like their mom sold their whole
I
collection
know,
or
or
like,
like gave
that
it
whole
to a
story. Yeah.
friend. Like, come on, bro, you're not looking out.
Yeah.
They got to look out for
Yeah,
us, man. But yeah,
exactly. And more like that story too. I know that story happens a lot with like Magic and like not just Pokemon, but like pretty much all
it's kind of like
collectibles and
everything. Yeah,
TCGs have that story. And
yeah,
it's like I don't want to say it's sad, but hindsight's 2020. There's only so much that we know. There's only so much that we can do.
yeah.
And it's kind of like I I get it, but at some point too, it's like, why did you have to do that?
No, 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 for real,
But
man.
that's cool. Um, like I said, I'm not a huge video game guy, but one of the things that I do own that I'm very happy to own is I own. I can open every open. I have a Game Boy Advance that I bought at one of our shows, but it is like rebooted. So it's like the graphics card got updated, and like I had my
Oh,
friend like updated it and like a whole bunch of stuff.
it's
Let's see if
quite
I can
neat.
get,
Yeah,
yeah,
that predates my time for sure. I didn't play any of those old ones. Like my first game I beat was like XY, man. Yeah, wow, that's fire,
so
dude.
and it has Pokemon Emerald, so I own Pokemon Emerald and I have it
Mm,
in there.
yes,
Um,
yes.
and I don't obviously like this is way before my time because I'm younger than you, but I I just like those old games too. And that's kind of like that's one of the little like I guess my PC, I guess
Yeah,
Pokemon PC if you'd consider that
yeah,
because I don't have like really any card PCs. The only cards that I have in my PC are cards that have been signed by like other vendors and like some gifts that some friends have given me.
yeah,
And that's about it. But that's a
yeah.
super cool story. What Rayquaza did you say that was?
It's the secret rare from Ancient Origins. So the mega secret rare. Uh,
Oh,
I
okay.
kept it.
Was
Yeah,
it?
yeah. That's kind of something else that I'll say too. So the few cards that I did have from like I remember when I was a kid, man, ripping an Ancient Origins box on like my birthday, and I
Mm,
pulled that card, the Shiny Rayquaza, and the Gengar EX, just like the normal one.
mm.
Oh no, actually, that was not. I don't think that card is Ancient Origin. I think that's Fan of Forces. So I just think I pulled again. Anyways, saying all this to say that I held on to those cards for since I was a kid. So that's like 9, 10 years, and yeah, like 9 years. And the Rayquaza got a 9, and then the Gengar got a 10. This is last summer.
Oh
It was like
wow.
my first submission. It was super neat to know, and part of me wishes that I hung on to those cards, but like I knew that if I could sell them and then just buy like a cop, like I'm not gonna be like, oh, this is the card from my childhood. Like it's not really that big a deal for me. And part of the problem with Pokemon too is like sports vendors, um, that like I talk to and just like it's just common sense. Like there's an emotional attachment to Pokemon. Like there's more of an emotional component than I would say like Magic or sports. I mean, like, yeah, you got your favorite sports player, but like this is your favorite Pokemon. You remember playing the games when you were a kid. So like that's what's hard about it, but I just try and always remove that aspect from it. It's like, no, from a business standpoint, I gotta do this. Like I sold a lot of my PC from a business standpoint. Like those cards I can get back later. So, but that is something I want to throw in there. Yeah, man. I mean, I was holding on to cards. I was keeping them in good condition. Only like two of them though. Only those two cards. The rest were cooked. But yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool, and I think that's like really strong to like start off with. And same thing for me is what I started off. So my story is I started with a $200 like eBay binder or a binder like my PC,
Yeah.
um, and I sold it all on eBay, and then I just kept on reinvesting it until we're here, until
Yeah.
this point. And it's been crazy. But same thing is the only card that me and my brother still have like really from our childhood. And the reason why we have this is because he bought it because we came from like the perspective of playing Pokemon cards. So we played like competitive and stuff like that. And before COVID, he bought this card for like $5 at the game store, and he was like it was his favorite card that he ever had. And he kept it in his sleeve and like all that stuff, and for years. And then when we started getting to Pokemon, we were like, oh, let's grade this card, because why not? And it got a 10. So it was this card. It was the Mega Sableye
Oh,
Tyranitar.
yeah.
Um, and it's like it's like I think like 13 or it's like 12 or 13 right now. Um,
Wow.
and he like that's once it came back to 10, he's like, I'm never selling that card. And like I was like, that's valid because like, that's like the one thing that we've kept that has been like of sufficient value, I guess. And he's just, it's really that emotional attachment. But everything else, like we sold to start
Yeah.
this. And it was at the same thing as like, oh yeah, we'll just get that later. And when we get it later, it'll be in the way that we want it. We might want it in a PSA 10 or a Beckett 10 or whatever it might be.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we'll get it like that. So,
Yeah.
the reason I asked about the Rayquaza is because I did a sub recently after Chicago, and I don't know if this is the secret one. I don't think this is the secret rare, but this was one of the cards I put this Rayquaza.
Yeah. That's from Roaring Skies. Yeah.
Oh, maybe
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I
I'm
don't.
I'm I'm
Anyway,
pretty sure that one's from Roaring. This is the the one I'm talking about though, right?
I think so. That's what I was trying to
Here.
mega.
It's a this one I got it, bro. Here. This is one.
Oh, that one. Okay, that one's beautiful. I like that
Yeah,
one.
no, and now, bro, like that's what I'm saying. I mean, and like I was looking at it and I was thinking of cracking and resubmitting it when I had it to try and get a 10. I'm like, dude, no, I just gotta accept the 9, man. Like these are so hard to grade. Like I just gotta accept the 9. So but yeah,
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite cards from when I was a kid, for sure.
That's really cool. But that Rayquaza we got in Chicago, and it was a PSA 2, and we cracked it, and I resubmitted it to hopefully get a 1 because I really like PSA 1s.
The
That's part
ones,
of
okay.
like yeah that's part of the things that I sell. So if I can let me just grab my case. Some of the stuff that I picked up in Atlanta, I have, or not Atlanta, Chicago. I have. I like ones because obviously it's a little bit more different. Pops are a little bit lower, and it's just cool. I think it's really cool to have like a damaged card in a slab, and be like, I graded it. And one of the things that I have is this one. Let me just take the price tag off. But this one, it's a Wailord EX, and it's a PSA 1. It's like
Mm.
completely like folded in half.
Oh, that is cooked. Yeah.
And
Wow.
then I have this Charizard from. I had a whole bunch of other ones that I got, but they all sold, from Evolutions in a one. But this one is marked, and it's because the Pokeball thing
Oh
is
my God.
like
That
so
is ridiculous. I've never seen anything like that. That's ridiculous.
yeah. But I think they're really cool, and
Mhm.
I like them in ones.
I have a lot of
So
buddies that do ones, and to be quite honest with you, man, it's a pretty ludicrous uh, infinite money glitch. You buy cards
mhm,
at the cheapest comp, and then you grade them ones, and there's a premium. Like it's pretty.
yeah.
I've never done it. I would never do it because it just bores me. But genuinely, I mean, all my friends that are one collector, dude, they just grade themselves and they rake in money. I'm like, why are people buying ones? Like what? Like,
Yeah.
but to each their own, man. To each their own.
No, I think it's super funny, and that's kind of like what happened with the Rayquaza. When we were cracking it, we accidentally cracked it wrong, and its corner got like messed up even more. But you're
Yeah.
like, oh, that's what we want, like we want that to happen so that I can get
You
the lower
like you're
grade.
purposely
Yeah,
damaging your cards to try and get a one. Listen,
but yeah, but I think there's like a difference. Like if you're getting like a completely near mint card and you're like folding it in half and
oh
crimping it,
yeah,
I
no,
think it's a little different.
that is ludicrous, right? That is just the
Yeah,
worst. But
yeah. But I think definitely the infinite money glitch for sure. I think that's just,
dude,
and it
yeah,
was like I bought the PSA 2 for like $60, and then a PSA 1 it's like 300. So I was
that's
like, I'm just gonna crack this. I'm just
what
gonna
I'm
like,
saying, man. Or like,
and
yeah,
it's just. But anyway, that was a super cool submission, and
yeah,
was super happy about that. Um, and yeah, kind of what's been up with the ones. What else? I don't really have anything else in there that's like one worthy. But yeah. So you said you started vending in March of this year, right? If I'm correct,
yeah.
or February?
February, yeah. So kind of like my story. I'll kind of take you down that road. So like I said, I graduated in the spring from Florida State, go Noles. Um, and I was a marketing student, so I went to school for marketing. My dad does marketing, and we at FSU we have this thing called Market Wednesday, and so it's basically like every Wednesday you could like apply to be a vendor and you could like vend. There were clothes and there was like a bunch of stuff. And when I would walk it as like a student, right? I'd walk it as a student. And one day I went there and there was like a girl selling Pokemon cards. Lucy Strike. She actually did a video with Coop's collection. So shout out Lucy.
Oh,
Anyways, yeah. So I saw her and bought a couple cards for her, and I was like, this is a good idea. She was like one of the only Pokemon people out there. The only other people were selling like plush, and they were like old, and they just kind of didn't really know what was up. So I'm like, all right, like this girl, she's she knows her stuff. She's taking things in at a percentage. So I'm like, wait a minute, why can't I do this? So then I applied to be a vendor, and it took me about like a few weeks to get accepted. And this is back earlier this spring. And my first time setting up out there was like early February, like super early February, maybe like late January. And I had a bunch of my Funko Pops because I also collect like Funkos too. Well, I used to be super into it at the time, not much anymore because obviously this is taking over. I had some Funko Pops and some binders, no cases, just like
mhm.
binders. And it was all my PC. And then I took that money. I made about $500, which I mean, the table cost as a student at Market Wednesday is like $40. So I mean,
Hmm.
pretty good margins. I made like $500, and it was right before, you think back like early February. February, March time. That's like right before the illustration rare boom. So what I did is I kind of saw that happening with specific IRs, and I bought all the other ones that wasn't happening with on eBay. I bought them all for market basically. Like I just bought them all. I mean, I was
Hmm.
like lowballing. I was like a little eBay warrior lowballing, and then
Hmm.
they popped. Right, the IRs boomed. Sold them all at that boom price. Kept all that money, and then I started figuring out. Oh wait, like taking trades at like percentages. I used to just straight trade people. Like I used to literally straight trade people. I'm like, oh wait a minute. So my first actual card show wasn't until like May was like my
Hmm.
first actual show, or like mid-April. There was a Tallahassee card show, um, and that was like my first show. But yeah, that's kind of my story. Is I just started at Market Wednesday with a folding table and like my binders, and now I do the YouTubes and stuff like that. So if you go back to my channel and you look at my first videos that I uploaded, they're from Market Wednesday. It's just a bunch of college kids. I'm just selling cards to college kids, and dude, the college kids don't haggle, man. Like there's no like run me a percentage. No, dude, they just buy straight. So it was super easy to like make my margins and like do all of that sort of stuff. But yeah, that's like kind of my story, man. That's it. So
That's awesome. That's
yeah,
super cool. That's so pretty much you did local shows, but in essentially a different way with on the college campus,
yeah,
or college way, and I think that's really cool. And that's definitely like I've never heard that way
yeah.
of doing it before.
And there's a lot of like there's a lot of kids, now that I'm not a student anymore, right? I'll still go back for Market Wednesday because still, I mean, you're selling like little peek under the hood. I'll go there and I'll sell like around like $1,200 to $1,500 worth of just singles. Like you're
Mhm.
selling that much worth of singles, that your table cost is $40. I just gotta stay with a friend, and like I still have friends that stay there. So it's a super neat opportunity, and like I know that they do that at colleges closer to me, like closer in the Tampa area. So like if any of y'all watching this, you guys are in college, high school, whatever, dude, like just do it, man. Like literally I saw somebody's my friend now, but I just saw somebody be like, why can't I do that? And I just clicked a few buttons, set up, and now I'm here. So really, I mean, just like, dude, you just kind of got to go for it nowadays, man, and just kind of just do it. I mean, there's
Yeah.
like truly no excuse. So, and like I know that because you be on your little daily posting grind. I completely respect it. I get it. So yeah, man.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
And that's really cool. And it was I assume like mostly like singles and stuff that sold, right?
Yeah, man.
Not like
Singles. I mean, I realized. So also my buddy Jose, Shadow Realm Collectibles, shout out. So my buddy Jose, he was kind of the sealed guy, and I remember he would, dude, and I kind of didn't like him at the time, right? He'd have the Costco liners of like the 151 blooming and like the sea and sky, and he would eat. I mean, he was making like $4,000 a day, and he would eat. And I'm like, wait a minute. So what I did was, and I'm actually glad you bring it up because I completely forgot about this. What I would do is I would sell packs, just
Mhm.
single packs, because I'm like, all right, college kids, single packs. And I was a marketing student, right? So it's like you kind of got to know your audience. So I would sell packs, and all I would do is I would sell them a dollar below his. You'd sell them for market. I'm just selling them a dollar below market, and they'd fly, and I would sell them instantly. So yeah, it was singles and packs. That's literally it. It's just cheaper singles, like $5 to $20 singles, and packs, like the cheapest packs, and like Crown Zenith, because Crown Zenith flies. The cheapest packs and Crown Zenith. So that's
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 awesome.
that's all I did. But
That's great. That's super cool.
yeah,
And that's such a unique way and like being opportunistic within the hobby. And I think that's something that I think a lot of people do, but that I think is something that, people are pretty straightforward, especially nowadays with like all like the information that's out there for people. And like, you could just, I think that, um, pretty much, and this is like something that you have to have opportunity within the vendor, and I think that's something that we're going to see as like if the market starts to soften a little bit during like November, December. I think we're going to see like a lot of vendors that say like now they're like, oh, it's like tried and true vendors or whatever, just because the market's hot, that they'll start to fade away. Because I think like a lot of people, they'll see like the one Bulbasaur video or something like that, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I know how to do it. Like I can vend or
right,
whatever.
right,
And I think that like people like, for example, you're like, oh, you saw something, you're like, let me try to do that. But then like
yeah,
you learned how to do it yourself, and then you found ways to, okay, what's my market? What's my audience? All that type of stuff.
yep,
I'm going to gear, for example, I'm doing a show this weekend. Um, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's a local show, but it's a pretty big local show.
Yep.
Actually, it's funny you bring up Coop. Coop's going to be there, and Bearded Dad. They're coming to Nashville for it.
It's
Um,
PokeCon. It's PokeCon.
yeah,
Yeah.
the PokeCon.
Yeah.
But for example, I'm not bringing all the stuff I brought to Chicago. When I was in Chicago, I was bringing a very specific type of inventory because I knew that was going to sell. But then when I come here, I'm bringing a different type of inventory, or I'm like trading in my big slabs for a little bit of raw that will sell a lot faster than a bunch of slabs that sell in Chicago,
Yeah.
or whatever it is, and kind of like knowing your audience. And I think that there's some of that, but I think that a lot of people kind of just do the same thing over and over again, expecting to be like the same.
Yes.
And then they're still buying at like super high percentages and all that type of stuff. But I think that that's something that's awesome that, like you said, like you were able to figure that out and find that. And you said your first show was like the Tallahassee card show, in Florida. So how was kind of like that transition from when was Charlotte? So Charlotte was that in June
Yeah.
or
Charlotte was August. Charlotte was
oh,
August.
August? Okay.
Yeah, it was
So
like
you were doing
first week
like
of August.
local shows, and then obviously you geared up. So how did you kind of line that whole thing up?
Yeah, so even something interesting that happened to me was obviously I graduated, like I said, right? So I built
Mhm.
up this nice little community in Tallahassee, and then I moved back home. So I'm in like Tampa. So I had to basically start from scratch. Like I didn't know anybody here. I had walked one show here. The show that I walked was the first show that I vended here because I was kind of familiar with the layout. But yeah, dude, I knew nobody, and like, yeah, I just didn't know. Like, I kind of stepped in because so like the Tallahassee card show was like mainly sports. There was only like a few Pokemon tables, and I know that you
Mm-hmm.
probably know, vending an all Pokemon show versus vending a half and half shows. It's two different ball games. Your competition at all Pokemon show, you got to buy higher. People are seeing the card that they're looking for 12 tables before you. So like it's very different. So kind of like getting here, I was very eager to book myself out. Like I got here in like May, I moved back here, and I was dedicated and committed to booking myself out for the entire summer. And I quickly realized that as a smaller vendor, you can't do that. Like it's just not feasible. And now I've learned to like for November, I have like one show, and that's a PokeCon. They're doing the same show you're doing this weekend. They're doing it here in
Yeah.
November, and I like to leave my calendar open just to leave like opportunities. Like, oh hey, I have a table here. Do you want to pick it up? And like I get a good deal on a table,
Exactly.
right? Because I know every weekend I'm going to do something. But yeah, I had to completely start from scratch and come here, kind of make a name for myself here. Like I was a pretty big vendor there, and now here I had to just come and kind of make my own thing. And I was doing local shows, but something that still to this day, well, I mean, I stand out from all the other local vendors in so many ways, but my biggest one starting out was that I didn't want to get myself caught up in doing the same local show over and over and over and
Mm-hmm.
over. I would lose my mind. You're fighting over the same customers week to week. The people don't know how to market their events. Like it's just an old sports guy marketing the events. They don't know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just didn't want to get stuck in like a never ending cycle of doing the same 1 to 3 shows. So I made a commitment. It's like, okay, I'm gonna travel. So I would go to Fort Myers, which for me that's like 2.5 hours. I wake up early morning, 5 a.m., drive my butt to Fort Myers, and I was doing really well by kind of like running the gauntlet. And like people were looking at me like, well, what are you doing? And it's like, well, like I want to reach as many people as I possibly can. Like I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna build the following year, and then I'm gonna come back. So that's something that I did early on that I say like, dude, like to you, if you do that or if you don't do that, start doing that. And if you do it, then
Mm-hmm.
continue because it is just so monotonous, and I lost the fun in vending by doing the same shows over and over again. It's like ridiculous. I
Mm-hmm.
would never want to do that. As well as selling slabs too. I don't sell slabs. We'll probably get to that because that I just completely lost the joy in arguing with grown men over what to price a card at, and then I just completely
Yeah.
lost the joy in vending from that. But yeah, that's kind of how I how I started out, man. It was, I mean, it wasn't too difficult, but I, just kind of got to find your footing, right? So change is good.
Yeah. No.
Change is good.
Yeah. There's so many parallels to what you're saying. So the Sarah, no, the stuff here in Nashville, um, and like the big thing was obviously the shows here. Doing it's funny you say do the same shows every weekend. That's kind of like the only option we do have here in Nashville,
Yeah.
or around there. That was until recently, and that was again it's like an old sports guy who's running the show, and then I saw it firsthand. So my first ever show vending was in November of last year. It's
Yeah.
been almost a year since we've vended. And I've what was it was from November till now, the Pokemon to sports ratio in November of last year was probably 20/80, and now it's like 60/40 Pokemon way.
Yeah.
Pokemon is taking the more like Pokemon just exploded here, and that's mostly because a lot of people are vending, and then also so something that I do with a group of buddies is we run our own show called Grails and Glory here in Nashville that I started running at my school, and then we started like expanding at different areas, and now we've moved out of my school and hitting like different areas all around Nashville, and
That's
it's like
fire.
specifically Pokemon and collectibles, but regardless, like what you're saying about like um, keeping your calendar open is like actually that's something that I try to do a lot because like for example, I have two people right now that they're like, "Yo, Rocco, do you have a table for this? Because if not, I have an extra table. We'll be at the front. I know the guy. It'll be really fun. We can do
That's what I'm
together."
saying.
And it's just like I have the opportunity to do all that stuff. And it's a little different for me since I don't have a car yet. I should be getting a car within probably the end of this month, or somewhere close around there. So once I do have my own car, it's because I haven't got my license. But once I get my license and get my own car, I'll be able to like travel, like do those like little
Get your ass
travels.
from
Like
there,
there's
bro.
I know
Yeah. Yeah.
there's
Take
like
over the world,
flips
boy.
and
Yep.
yeah, there's like flip shows in like Huntsville and like there's just little shows everywhere that I would want to do.
Mhm.
And I have done some traveling for some shows here that are more local. And when doing that, you learn that okay, this show is not a good show to do, but this show is a good show to do. And
Yep.
so then it's all that type of stuff. Um, and it's just been really really cool. But I agree fully with what you've been saying about like keeping your calendar open and all that type of stuff. You said that you don't do slabs. What are explain that? What are
Yeah,
yeah.
man. So here, and listen, this is very cut and dry. Well, first off, there's a lot of things that I do and don't do that your average Joe vendor would probably disagree with. But I feel like, okay, I told you I started out with only singles, right? I
Mm-hmm.
had a few slabs from my own personal submissions, but I'd only done like one. So I had like 6 slabs. And as you do more shows and grow as a vendor, you see people with slabs. You're like, wait a minute, why? Just like I said, like why don't I do this? These move for people, great. So that's exactly what I did. I transitioned basically half of my inventory into slabs. So I'd have slabs and I'd have singles. And
Mm-hmm.
what I noticed, especially, I don't know how it is in Nashville, but here there's like people like RJS, right? When I go to like bigger local shows that I got to compete with, um, why would anybody sell slabs to a smaller vendor when they could just go to the biggest vendor with the who like as a buyer at a show, if I see a big flashy vendor banner that says buying, well, they probably got the most money in the building, so I'm gonna go to them. So that was one problem, is sourcing inventory. And when you buy slabs, you have to buy them at such an astronomical, bro. People want 88%. I don't blame
Mm-hmm.
them. In a market like this, they want 88%, 90%. People are paying that. So number one, I can't compete. Number two, one bad comp and I'm losing money. If I can't sell that thing immediately same day, I'm losing money. And what the market is doing now within the last week, a lot of slabs are down. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are out of money. So like, whereas singles, you can buy singles at 70. You can trade
Mm-hmm.
singles at 80. You have a lot more room. And singles have a set market price. So like what I said earlier to like arguing with grown men about how much to value something at, that is so annoying to me. Like that is literally so annoying. And I hated it. It took so much of the fun out of vending, out of the hobby. Um, like arguing what to value a slab at. And like I got a the 2014 Festa Pikachu. Do you know that card?
Yes.
So I got in that card. I took it. I straight traded a bunch of smaller slabs with a buddy of mine. I got it in at a value of 4.9. At the time, the last sale was 4.8. Lowest was like 5.2. Lowest listed. Like bet 4.9. Bet. By the time I got it, he shipped it to me. It took like 5 days. By the time I got it, it was 4K. So a couple bad comps completely
Mhm.
shifted the market to 4K. Now I got out of it just fine because I was able to wheel and deal. Like there was a last sold at 4.7. I like waited a week. There was a last sold at 4.7, lowest at 5.2. So I valued it in the middle at sticker, and then I got trade. Thank God I did because there was. I mean, you're losing thousands of dollars
Mhm.
if it swings the other way because not everything goes up in this hobby. Not everything goes up. People think everything goes up. Slabs do not always go up. So yeah, that's kind of why I stopped doing slabs. Also, every single collector that collects raw. You cannot convince me
Mhm.
otherwise. Everybody's going to local shows for raw. Collecticons, you might have a good time moving slabs, but I went to Charlotte first CollectCon, loaded up on slabs. And buddy's like, Evan, load up. I load up. I sold two. So like, I'm like, all right, something's off here. And again, I still did great, but I sold two. So yeah, I just kind of stopped doing slab, and like I still have a few in like my collection, but I just kind of stopped doing them for those reasons, man. It just kind of got annoying, and like I was like getting close to losing, or even if I
Mhm.
was gaining, it's like still a hassle. But yeah, so no slabs
Yeah,
here at
no.
West Collects, man.
No, I feel that, and that's cool, and that's awesome that you're able to notice that. And that's I've never had like a good amount. Like obviously, people tell you to get a bunch of slabs and stuff like that. Um, Atlanta, I didn't really sell slabs. Chicago, I did sell a lot of slabs. But again, it kind of like depends on every show, and like at that local. That's also like, for example, like ones and stuff like that for me sell really well because one, it's different. It's not like a PSA 10 whatever. Like everyone
Yeah,
has a PSA 10 whatever card, but not everyone has like the PSA 1 version, or not everyone has like a specific version of it. And that's kind of like where it's good. I think slabs are good to like hold like a good value of your inventory in. Again, they go up and down, and you have to be kind of like very um, strategic with what you're holding. But at the same time, I think that they, at like a local show, especially, it's going to be singles that just sell a lot more,
yeah.
because that's like
So
you said, that's what a lot of collectors do.
that's also another thing too is you as a smaller vendor, or, me as a smaller vendor, why would I get inventory that's situational that I have to
Hmm.
buy at a higher percentage? Like I know I can move raw at Collecticon. I rinsed my raw at a local show. I can rinse with my raw. Slabs might sell really well here, doesn't do as well here. Why would I carry that? Like, especially if like I could carry it, but bro, slabs are expensive. Like like slabs are expensive. Why am I holding that at stuff back at local shows? Like not putting it out, or why is it not moving there and then moving there? It's a game that I just didn't want to play. So yeah,
Yeah. No, I think that's true, and, that it's good that you kinda, like, you notice that, early
yeah,
on and all that type of stuff, and I think that's great,
yeah.
and I think that that's just awesome, yeah, that's really cool. Um, what, so you said that you've sold vendor. Have you done anything else like eBay, or like, well, you said you buy on eBay, but have you done like streaming or anything else besides that, or have you
Yeah,
just
I
specifically
did.
stick to
I
vendor?
have done. So first off, I whatnot streamers. I'm not very fond of. If you've watched any of my content, I'm not a big whatnot guy.
Mhm.
And however, I did do one whatnot stream, but it was in like the context of like I hate whatnot streamers. Like I'm gonna join them and I'm gonna do it right. So I did one whatnot stream. I mean, it was great, but also like too, for me, liquidating is kind of a hassle because it's you can't source inventory. I mean, I don't really have that problem much anymore. Because people reach out to me all the time trying to move things, and people know what I like, which is trainers. I'm a big full art trainer guy, and people come to
Mhm.
me with their trainers. It's super easy for me. But I've done one whatnot stream, did well. I've sold on eBay for years, like cards or like shoes, like just like I'm not a shoe reseller guy, just like a couple pairs of shoes, all right. But like shoes and like some like old video games. So I still do
Mhm.
eBay. Like if I get a really good deal on something at a show that I know won't move at a show locally, or like it's harder to move, I'll just throw it up on eBay because I got it in for so low. Doesn't matter. They take their cut. Doesn't matter. So yeah, I've done a very tiny bit of whatnot, sporadic eBay throughout the years with various things. Obviously like YouTube and like merch, like creating my
Hmm.
shirts and figuring out that process, setting up a store, like that stuff. So yeah, that's kind of what I've done. I think it's very important to have alternate revenue sources. I think that's the only way, like Jar Tom, right? For example, Jar Tom
Hmm.
is my favorite guy to watch. He's my favorite vendor, I would say, that I like look up to. And dude, he has, he travels, right? So he got the vending, and then he's got the merch now, and he's got the drip
Hmm.
streams, he's got the YouTube members, he's got. So I think it's important to
Yeah.
kind of have as many revenue streams as you can, for sure. So that's kind of what I like really took that to heart, and I tried really hard over the last like couple months to activate that, even if it's not like, even if I'm not selling like 200 shirts a day, right? Getting those pillars into place and then moving from there, knowing that you have them and you've already figured that stuff out. It's very easy to move forward when you got everything else. Everything's just firing, right? Everything's
Yeah.
firing. So, yeah, that's kind of my strategy. But
That's cool. I like that. And I think that that's awesome. Obviously, for me, I have like TCG Player, which I sell a lot on. I do want to start doing some streaming. So forgive me, but yeah, and whatnot.
oh
But
no,
I
dude, I just
yeah.
like it's just the whole whatnot thing is like they'll like trying to come up to your booth and like they expect you to fire sell your inventory. It's like, buddy, like I'm not gonna sell to you at 78. No, dude, no. Like I'm not, and they'll try and like beat up your price, knowing that they're gonna 3x the car, they're gonna rinse on their stream. So they'll beat up your comps and then they'll try and undercut you. That's why I don't,
Yeah.
it's not like a blanket I hate whatnot, but like the whatnot like experiences that I've had with some whatnot people, man,
Mhm.
just don't be one of those guys, Rocco. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah,
Don't be one of those guys. But and then you're good. You're good.
yeah. Try not to be.
Yes.
Um, but I do feel that. And the only thing like TCG Player also is like that. Like I'll go up to people and I'll just buy their whole binder. But most people are like usually happy with it because I'm buying stuff that they don't like.
The small stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm buying stuff like this that people
Right.
like.
That they'll
Like no one
sit
cares
on.
about it,
That's what
and
I'm saying.
yeah, and like stuff like that, and I'll just like make it works and use on TCG Player. Uh,
Yeah.
but like it's just stuff like that. But that's cool. That's that you've been able to like maximize that and like revenue and like or you figured out that and that's a way
Yeah.
how to do it.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. Um, what is okay? So you kind of said this before with your like I guess your Mega Ray Quaza and all that type of stuff. But something I like to ask like most Pokemon vendors or people that hop on the podcast is what was like I call like what was your first Charizard? Essentially, what it means. What was the moment in time for you that like kind of solidified? You're like, oh, okay, I'm like actually like I want to do this full time. I want to like that moment in time where you like knew you're like, okay, this is like something that I want to do.
Well, this is a very so this is earlier. So like, okay, I understand what you're saying. For me, what catapulted me into Venice. So like the Rayquaza I graded last summer, and then I held on to my PC, and then like I started selling it. So like, yeah, obviously if you grade any card yourself, you're gonna see substantial gains. But one of it was an acquaintance at the time, but she's one of my really good friends now. Her name is Jess. She was like a friend of Lucy, who I said the other vendor that was there, and like some of the other vendors that were there. She was a friend. Her brother like would travel and like do Pokemon, so she had a bunch of like very interesting, neat cards I'd never seen before. But she wasn't a vendor herself. She would just like come out there and collect and like chop it up with a bunch of us.
Mhm.
And she one day showed me like, look at this, and it was a shiny Rayquaza Poncho Pikachu. It's like, look at this. And my first gut instinct, I had never seen it before. I had never seen one of those cards in person before, and I knew that they were expensive. I didn't know how expensive. So I opened my collector app. Shout out collector, download collector. So I opened my
Mhm.
collector app, and it's like the card's worth 2K. So just a blind shot in the dark. I like looked at it. I'm like, this looks pretty good. I told her I'll sell you 1.7 right now. That's half of my savings account. I'm a college kid. I'll take half of my savings account out right now and I'll sell it to you. And she had like some loans she had to pay off, and she didn't think I was serious, but I was just like, no, I'll do it right now. Like let's run it. So she took like a couple hours to think about it, and then but like she was at the other booth right next to me. So then she comes back to me. She's like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Bet." I did it. Um, so I did it. Very scary, Rocco. I mean, again, like I said, half my savings, college kid, probably shouldn't be doing this. I'll do it. I sent it to PSA. So, but was in it for 1.7. Grading fees like 300. It gets a 10. At the time, it's worth $5,000. Right now, it's like 8. I'm pretty sure at one point it got up to 12, but it cooled off a little bit. It's like
It's
8.
the shining, which one?
The shiny Rayquaza. It's like the blue background.
Yeah,
So
yeah, 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 yeah.
So get to 10. Lost my mind. I was losing sleep. Like you've graded cards before. When it got into assembly, I was losing my mind. Like I was losing sleep, dude. This is like all of my money. And like with some of those Japanese promos, man, there's hidden scratches can completely just a 5. Like I could have completely lost on it. So very risky. Get to 10. I took it. I instantly sold it. Instantly, I got it. I sold it for $5,000 to Team Skull. They're from Orlando. They buy like grails, super high percentages. Sold it for $5,000. It was worth like 5.1, 5.2. Sold it with a voltage guard for $5,000 cash. And I mean, I drove like 2 hours to do that because they were in like Orlando, and like yeah, I drove a couple hours to make that deal. And my dad was very like, nah, I don't know about this whole Pokemon stuff. Like you're putting a lot of money into, especially when I did that. It was like, I don't know about that. When I told him that, he's like, all right, like I'm gonna trust you now. So that was sold that card, made my $3,000,
Yeah.
and bought a collection. First thing I did,
There you
was
go.
like, all right, I'm gonna buy a collection. So my buddy trying to get out, I just sold me all his raw at like 80%. Bought a collection, rinsed that, at Market Wednesday. So that's kind of how that was my moment of like, wow, this is something I can do. And I've done a play like that again. I got lucky enough. Some guy brought me Munch promos. He brought me a Munch Psyduck, EP, and Rowlet, and
Dang.
2 of them got 10s. Like, and I bought them
Dang.
for like 80%. Like, so like stuff like that, man. It's just the right place, right time, and just taking a chance. Like Pokemon inherently is risky. So you got to be able and ready to take those chances, man. Take those opportunities, because I mean, yeah, I could have gotten a 9 and I would have made like $100, $200, but dude, it got a 10. I made $3,000. It's ridiculous. So
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And that's like moments like that is kind of like what to live for in the hobby, I think. And
yeah,
it's
dude.
like those that take the risk and like that do it. For example, I have a Mewtwo V-Star coming back from grading. It was very risky. I have the 151 Blastoise, the 151 Venusaur, and the 151 Pikachu alternate art that are all like very risky bets. But it's like, they're most likely going to get a 10. So, send them
Right.
in. Hope
Right.
that they get a 10 and all that type of stuff. Again, like the other order that I did recently. So it's just, I think it's good. And I think that it's part of like I don't want to say it's part of the business, but it's like a genuine part of it if you want to get into it is like, and that's how you X your inventory extremely fast.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like one of the coolest things about the hobby. But no, that's super cool. And I'm like, that's awesome that you're able to do that with the poncho. I've yet to own a poncho. That is something that I want to do
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely,
before.
and like, bro, like you don't see people toting around raw gradable ponchos. It's not something that happens. So like,
Yeah, no,
no,
yeah.
yeah, that was just wild. But
Yeah, and I think that that's awesome, and that's kind of like a goal for probably before I graduate. I want to own a poncho before I graduate, and then um, yeah, I want to do that, and
now,
yeah,
now, now,
that's
now, be
definitely
careful with those ponchos, now, man. Be careful, right? Because just like I said, with my Festa, you get it, all of a sudden, the
yeah,
universe decides as soon as you get it, it's going to fall off the face of the earth, value
yeah,
wise. Like, but when you don't have it, it's going to skyrocket. Then when you have it, it's going to fall off. So,
yeah,
I mean, if it's like a PC
no,
thing, just pluck it and file it away.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, it's,
yeah, no, I think those are awesome. Those are super fun, but
they're really
that's
cool
super
cards,
cool.
though. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're really cool.
Very nice.
Definitely some of the grails, but
For sure.
that's awesome. Kind of like to piggyback off that, what has been, obviously you've spent a lot of memories from you, but what has been like one of your favorite memories that you've had within the hobby as either a vendor or collector, etc.?
Oh man. Yeah, just opening those old boxes when I was a kid, like those legendary treasures, those ancient origins booster boxes. Like I remember vividly opening my first booster box. Like that's I used to watch Unlisted Leaf, and he'd open one and he'd split it into four parts, and like I was like, man, mom, like I just want one booster box. And bro, I mean back then legendary treasures $100 on Amazon. Like
Hmm.
Amazon, I don't know what market it was, but Amazon had them for 100. So now it's worth like tens of thousands of dollars. But yeah, that's definitely some core memories there when I was a kid. Playing the games with my cousin Ray, Rax Collects, shout out Ray. Playing the games through with my cousin, like trading Pokemon, like late night trades, bro, on the DS. Like going back and forth and like arguing why my garbage Pokemon is better than his really cool one to try and get him to do the trade. um, Trading cards, like dude on the playground, like your playground recess trades, man. That was something else. And then like more recently, like the pawn show, like that whole experience and like the highs of that, were was something really cool to experience. But um, the people and the community is just something so special. I mean, I've met my best friends through the hobby.
Hmm.
Um, it's just a super special thing, and I feel like Pokemon just the fan base is so passionate about Pokemon, and everybody has their own memories, and sharing those memories with other people. It's a really beautiful thing. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many ways you could look at it, man. But I mean, I'm just the people I've met through this hobby that love me and support me, man. Craziness, man.
Yeah.
It's super awesome.
I agree with that like 100%. And I think that like the network opportunity within Pokemon is
Yes.
also surreal. Like for example, like I've been able to meet people outside like in Pokemon that vend with me and they're business partners, but outside of Pokemon, like I met my mentor through Pokemon.
Yeah.
I've met my friend Jim again, like he's like one of the coolest people I know on the planet, like one of the best people I know on the planet. And I met him through Pokemon. He does like a big real estate thing, and like after high school, he was like, "Yo, Rocco, like I see all the stuff that you're doing with this. I want you like on my team," and like all that. So
That's
he's like
smart.
gives me all the plug, and it's just like people. It's a great avenue for people to see like, okay, this kid's put in the work, or like this person's put in the work. They know what they're doing. They know how to manage sales. They know how to manage an inventory. They can do all this type of stuff. They should work, like, and they be like, if they're okay with this, then they should be able to steward this or whatever. And I think that that's something very cool that is within the hobby. And that's on a different level. Obviously, on the base level, everyone, the hobby's cool, that everyone's collectors, everyone has their favorite stuff to collect, etc. Um, and I think that is just a beautiful thing about the hobby and something that I don't think is really much anywhere else. Obviously, there's probably some things here and there, but I think it's very different. And I think Pokemon and like the markets, this is very much like the flagship or the staple of like the collectible space, the
Yes.
collectible.
Yeah.
And I think that it's something that is awesome and beautiful and like really, really cool.
Yeah.
And like, for example, like this, like I would have been able to meet you and like talk about like, we've had an amazing conversation. And it's just been, this would never have happened if Pokemon didn't exist. I think that is just, it's really cool. It connects people on a different
Brings people
level.
together. Yeah, dude,
Um,
for sure.
yeah. And it's really cool. My last, like kind of my last question before we can talk about pretty much anything you want, is what's like your favorite Pokemon card right now in your collection or your favorite Pokemon?
Ooh, all right. So I have two answers for you. I'm gonna grab my binder and I will show you. Let's go and take a look. Here we
Okay.
go. All right. So favorite Pokemon Snorlax through and through. I mean, like Greninja, Fire, Jigglypuff, really like, but Snorlax, I would say definitively if I had to choose one, Snorlax. I recently picked up this card when first off, Card Prison, Rock Sandy, shout out Card Prison.
Yo,
Um,
I'm his. Oh,
you,
that's crazy.
you,
I know him. He's
you got
awesome.
one too?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I've had him I'm like an affiliate for him. Here in Nashville.
Card Prison,
I've
yeah,
had
there
him
you
on the
go.
podcast.
Oh, really? You had Rock on the podcast? That's fire, bro.
Yeah.
I'm with royalty. It's very good to know. I
Nice.
would say so. My favorite Snorlax card I saw recently, and I saw it at a show. The odds of me finding this at a show are slim. It was in a PSA 4. It was a Pop 15, and I cracked it out. It's the Snorlax Level X,
White
but
card
specifically the
cast.
Japanese because it has the It's a Domino's promo. You got the Domino's logo there
That's so
at the bottom
sick.
left. So this is 100% my favorite Snorlax card. My favorite, so I really like trainer. Like a majority of the binder is trainer cards. My favorite trainer card is in my case. Let me see if I can grab that. Oh wait, no, it's not. I think I actually put it in here. My favorite trainer card is right. Is it at the front? All right. Yes, this is my favorite trainer card. The Lily's Full Force. This is it.
That's tough.
Um, and like I like the green, like this entire set too. Like the three of these, the green, the red, and
Hmm.
those are just gorgeous. But I think the Lily's Full Force I've been able to pin down for like the last couple months is my favorite trainer card. So those are my two. As far as like something that I don't like, a card that I don't own that I think is really cool that I would love to own. Well, I do really like the Greninja from Twilight. That's fire. Um, the the Misty's Gyarados. I forget if that's Gym Challenge or Gym Heroes because I wasn't like a
Hmm.
vintage kid. Somebody came up to me with that card in a 10. That is a dope card. That
Hmm.
is a really cool card. So I would love to own that. So those are three standouts, three or four standouts for sure.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome, and that's really, really cool. What are so you said you've alluded a couple times at like trainers. So what like kind of made trainers be your kind of like niche that you like collect a lot of?
Yeah, well, I always liked him, right? So I always
Mm-hmm.
liked the trainer cards. I just thought the art on him was just so cool. And like I would see, I just always thought that like they were just like they were cool, but they were cooler than the Pokemon cards. So I think it's important to, and this goes out to you and to every other vendor, is like Rocco, you with the PSA ones, like you like the PSA ones, collect what you like, right? Collect and vend what you like, because I'm at the point now where if I stopped vending tomorrow, I'd be happy with my collection. Like if I stopped, I'd be happy. I think that's really important. It's also really important to have a niche, right? If you're doing these collecticons, you're doing these big shows. Like I was saying, a majority of the people there that do Pokemon have ultra modern. So you're seeing all this ultra modern. Well, by the time they get to you, like I know my placement for Houston, I'm gonna be in the back, just like I was in Atlanta. So obviously, yes, I do YouTube. People know me from there, but for the people that don't, they've been looking for this one specific card. Um, or that they had already found, or not. Maybe they're looking for a card that they haven't found yet. So I want to collect what I like and have a niche. I think that those are two important things, and they sell for me. They trainer cards sell for me really well, especially because like all the other local people know like to send them my way. So that's my way of sorting. It's super easy to
Hmm.
source because nobody else wants trainers. They
Hmm.
come to me, I rinse with them. That's it. Like, and since nobody else wants
Yeah.
them, people are willing to sell them for 70%, 72,
Yeah.
73, like, lower than what other people would take in like a bubble mew, for example. So um,
Yeah.
those are my two main reasons, man, is collecting what I like and having a niche. I think is very, very important for sure.
Awesome. No, I think that's really cool. And that's like something definitely having a niche is something that I feel like I needed to do like at the beginning because I come from so before Pokemon I had like a little bit online business stuff, not like
Yeah.
anything crazy. But like that's something that differentiates you, especially in the online space, is like what's different about you that is different about the next person, you know?
Yeah.
Um, like what do you have that the other person doesn't have? And one of those things also is like niche, and I think mission is very important. Like for example, like for me, my mission and the mission with PokéSells is to become like the youngest person documented that was able to start from zero and scale to like $1 million in revenue. Is like kind of like for me like that is like the statement I say that every day on my videos, etc.
Yeah.
And it's just something that is one, it's a bit generic, it's not like, I'm trying to make $5,000 selling bubble muse or whatever it might be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, like it's like generic enough that the average person's like, okay, let me see what this is about. This seems something attainable, or this kid seems like it's something attainable. Okay, we're following a journey. You're putting a story with it, and I think like how you market it or all that type of stuff. For example, I'm the TCG player guy, and now a lot of people are starting TCG players, so I'm less of the TCG player guy now in Nashville.
Right.
But at a time, and still in a way, people find binders. They're like, oh, he wants it. He'll take it from you.
Yep.
I'm like,
So
all right, bet,
so
let's
you did it,
negotiate.
right? It's super easy for you, right? You're getting people sent to you, and it's people and like the cheaper stuff, right? It's a lot of stuff that people don't want or doesn't move, and you're rinsing, right? You're doing really
Yeah,
well, so you enjoy it. It's easy for you, and you're doing well. So we 100% think alike in that way, man, for sure. It is very nice to have a niche because yeah, people know about it, and you, bro, you just do well with it.
yeah,
So, and I know the TCG player, like those cards you showed me, bro, like those like cheaper cards. I mean, yeah, bro, you know exactly what you're doing. So that is
yeah,
awesome. That is really
yeah.
great.
No, it's super fun, and it's just for
Yeah.
me right now. Also, as like a student, it's easier for me to be like, you know, taking a whole bunch of stuff on a weekend. Taking 500 plus cards on like on a weekend. Within, I have a week until my next show. Within that week, list all those 500 cards on TCG Player, and then I can sell them all remotely from my bedroom. Or it's like I'm
And
at school and
passively
I'll
too.
get like,
Yeah, right,
yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Like
Like I'll be at
you do
school and I
nothing and
come
you're
back.
raking in TCG player sales. You come home, pack them, and then ship them out. It's easy.
Exactly. And it's like it's just very simple and it makes a lot of sense for the scenario that I am. But now,
Yeah,
I'll have a car, I'll be able to, do maybe sealed deals across, I'll be able to drive like 15 minutes to a meetup, pick up like a good amount of show inventory at 80% or, whatever it might be. I'll be able to pick up a whole bunch of junk slabs and offload it to my friend that buys junk slabs, like I'll be able to do all that stuff and maneuver a lot more. But for right now, it's like that makes sense. And like I've made a strategic play in a niche that's paid off really well, and that is TCG player. And like like you said, it's trainers. So I think that's very cool and very like crucial that people find kind of out what that is.
hundred
And I
percent,
think that's
one
really
hundred
cool.
percent. Yep.
But yeah, we've had you on for a little bit, or not a little bit, a while, and I've enjoyed this podcast a lot. But I would like to ask you if you have anything else that you'd like to talk about before we kind of like wrap up.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of stuff that comes to mind with me. Like I know, like I'm very outspoken about trade up challenges and how I don't like the trade ups, and there's a bunch of stuff that comes in to play there. But what I really do want to talk about just briefly is growth. So I know that your thing is like just like you were just saying, that, you want to become the youngest documented, or just you want to hit, you got a goal. It's like a million bucks. For me, because I've gone through phases of growth, I take out a lot of money from Pokemon and put it into my personal life, whether it's savings or having fun with friends or whatever. And I want to, and kind of rock up what we were talking about earlier. Like I know people booking out shows. Like, bro, people have Card Party West and East for next summer already booked. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's ridiculous because it's the same price for vendors. It's the same
Mm-hmm.
price. They're not going to sell out. It's the same price for vendors. So I think that there's a point in this hobby as a vendor where growth is inhibiting you. So, like for
Mm-hmm.
example, if I have a completely chocked full case of singles, right? This is the most singles I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
I could easily get 2 tables. Well, then my expense doubles. And with the expense doubling, my revenue has to double. And that's not how that works. If you get a second table at a show, your revenue does not double. Your footprint doubles. You might get more people to come up to you, but not your revenue. So I actually have a very unpopular take about growth. And it's like, to me, there's a point, like if I started out with 2 tables worth of stuff and that's my anchor, that's my baseline, maybe I wouldn't go to 4, maybe I wouldn't go to 3, but I was always a 1 to 2 table guy. And now that I live my little 1 table life, bro, buying 2 tables at a collecticon seems outrageous to me. Like that's doubling my expenses, and I'm not gonna make double. So I sell that say, what's your take on that? Like, what do you have an opinion on it? Because I've never met anybody with my same views. Like everybody's like, no, grow, 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 grow. Like fake it till you make it. Like just go. And like that's why I stopped doing like Facebook deals during the week and like stuff like that. Like doing a bunch of deals and trades is like it it kind of became counterintuitive. So what's your take on
Mhm.
that, man?
To be honest, I've never thought about it like that. And I think that's very interesting. I've never actually like, I guess, taken the time to think about that until now. And I guess I've always been a one table person. I've never had two tables just because my inventory size has never been able to cover two tables.
Yeah.
Um, and I think, I mean, relatively, obviously, I've been scaling the business, but at a one table, and I guess, like you said, like I've always thought like, you get a second table, you double your inventory, you double your
No.
all that
No.
type of
Yeah.
stuff. And I guess it's necessarily not true. If any way, it makes it harder to do that.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that it gets to like, for example, like we're still relatively small vendors.
Yeah.
There's some people that they need to have, like, for example, Pokemon Network, if you know who Pokemon Network is.
Mhm.
They're like a really high-end sealed person. They they need that space.
Yep.
Like they need the amount of space that they have to do that. But a smaller person, like I think a great example, right, is go to pools. Arvin, he's one of my good friends.
Yeah.
He has easily hundreds of thousands of dollars in inventory, but he only still
One
has one
table.
table.
That's what I'm saying. One table.
And it's like it makes sense for what he's trying to do. Which and at the same time, a lot of people that I see with multiple tables, they usually have one table where they're having their inventory, and then they have one table for buying. So I think it kind of like depends on like what your scenario is. For example, my friend RJ Reed, he had three tables at Collecticon Chicago, and he had no inventory set up. His whole purpose for that show was to buy cards
Yeah.
and load
I
up
also
and
I also so here's another thing about me, and I know for a fact you don't know this about me, but a lot of people close to me do. I so like Reed, great example. RJ. I a bunch of my close vendor buddies, we make fun of like, bro, those guys, it's like, hey, I have 2 mil I need to spend by 3 p.m. today. Like,
yeah,
I just think it's so like just flexy. Dude, it's just like whales in this hobby. And I've met RJ, great guy, bro. But like whales in this hobby, man, like specific whales, not all, but I mean, you have a tendency to be kind of like, dude, like you posting your cars
yeah,
and Korean barbecue every night, like, buddy, like need to spend 5 mil in 2 months. The money's yours. Just come and get it. Like that is ridiculous. And I think in this hobby, it's very easy to get caught up in like the money. And
mhm,
like as a vendor, I come at it from a very outside point of view. Like I'm
yeah,
inside, I'm under the hood, and I still think that it's ridiculous. Like it is just
yeah.
ridiculous. Like it is. So that's another
Yeah,
thing about me, bro.
I
It's
agree. I agree with you with that, and I think at the same time too, like it just depends. So, for example, like Reed, he needs this. He only was buying for Chicago, but that's because he's offloading it to other people. Like he's offloading it to like repackers. He's offloading it to people. A good friend of ours in the Nashville area, which um, I can't even say his name because he doesn't like to be public, like
right,
said
right.
publicly. They have people that they're sourcing it to. So, for example, they're sourcing it to repackers, they're sourcing it to TikTokers or whatever it might be. Um, and I, it's funny sometimes. Like for example, there's a group of people that I conducted business with in Chicago, and they weren't like scamming or anything. Well, they were kind of a little. No,
Yeah,
I was middlemaning a deal,
yeah.
and a deal kind of went a little south. And I tried to go back to them. I was like, "Yo, can we like make things right?" And they kind of like beat around the bush. And I was like, "Okay, you guys are kind of like." They were like
They're
the
just
phrase
not
that
good
they
people, bro. Like it's just
yeah
not.
the phrase that they used was like, "Oh, we're out. Like we're tapped out of our budget today." And then I literally see like the next day,
Story.
they're like, "Okay, Yeah, the next story that they post up, they're like, okay, we're going to be at this show this weekend, unlimited budget, sell us what you want.
Unlimited budget. That phrase, like, it
Yeah.
is so easy to make fun of these people, man. And it's like, I think it's ridiculous the money that people spend. Like I saw, I saw like the RJ on his couch. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like again,
Yeah.
great guy. Know him person, great guy. But like, dude, it's just like I don't know, man. Like it's I never want to be that guy ever. I'd rather
Mhm.
make my money on the YouTubes and just have my little one or two tables and then that's it. I never want to be that guy. But there's a person for everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I just wanted to
I
mention that
think
too,
it,
the unlimited budget, but that's ridiculous.
yeah, no, I think it's, and also at the same, like, because I've heard it from those people's perspective, and most of it comes down to tax reasons. They are, I don't know what like all the specifics is in it, but it's essentially coming down to like what you have once you have like an LLC or there's like some tax reason for it. Where if you're constantly buying a high amount volume of inventory or something like that, there's something like that. But again, I don't know. I'm still 17. I don't know all this stuff yet. I can't even sign up for an LLC.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's it's different. It's weird. And I agree with that. That it can be ridiculous sometimes, and I'd much rather come to a show with 100,000 and spend 100,000 and not be like, oh, I need to spend 100,000. Like
yeah, bro. Like
you send it.
money's yours. Come and get it. Unlimited budget. Need to spend it by 2 p.m. tomorrow. It's just like silly. Like because if you've bought like that before, well, you got your little outlets. Like no, I don't think Joe Schmo is gonna come try and offload $200,000 worth of stuff to you off Instagram. But maybe I'm in the wrong. Maybe that stuff actually
Yeah.
happens. I don't know. But who knows? I just wanted to make a point to say that because it's just dumb. But
No, I think that's cool. And like I'd never going circling back to what you're saying, I never thought about it that way.
yeah, it's
And I think that that's really cool. I've
yeah,
never, like I said, never thought about it in that light. And um, yeah,
yeah.
it's different.
I mean, the only other thing um, that I can think of, yeah, the last thing I'll say is um, just do content. Like you're doing content, and like you are taking on my advice in this regard. But bro, just do content. I'm also not a big fan of like the shorts, and I was daily posting shorts, but I would rather kind of have to decide, because I do the vendor POVs, right? So I had to decide, do I want to build an audience and make money from that audience, or do I want to like get followers? Because there's a difference
Hmm.
between a lot of followers and an audience. Um, like Costello Cards, do you know who that is? Okay, so he's a guy from Richmond, Virginia. I met him when he had like literally he had like 400 followers. Not met him, but just like found him through Instagram. He'd DM me like, "Bro, love your stuff, keep it up." I'm like, he's like, "I want to do your thing." I'm like, "Bro, you do it, you do you." Now he has 20,000 followers on Instagram. This is like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
All he did was daily post shorts. That's all I did. But if you look at like numbers and then you look at shorts and then like that person tries to do a long form YouTube video, well, there's not a lot of conversion. Like there's
Hmm.
really not a lot of conversion. You get a lot of views from shorts. They're not going to come back and they're not going to watch your other stuff, right? They're just for that video. I've had shorts blow up, millions of views. Great. It's for that video. They're not going to return. Even like the followers and subscribers you gain. So I made a conscious decision to make the long form stuff and prioritize that. So I don't do shorts nearly as much anymore. I don't think I've done one in the last month. So I think it's important for you as a content creator to nail down what you want to do. What is your goal? So Rocco, you have a goal. You have a very distinct goal. Whether it's a content side or a revenue side for you, it's revenue. And I'm sure that I've told yourself that you're going to daily post. I'm sure
Hmm.
that has occurred, right? So, yeah, so just nailing down, doing content. Number one, just put stuff out. Put stuff out. It can be trash, but the stuff that it's 6 months from now, you're going to think it's trash. And from right now, 6 months down the line, I'll think the stuff I'm doing now is trash. So, but starting out, it's rocky. So yeah, do content and figure out your goals with content. Whether it's all right, I want to get blasted out with like 1 million followers, or I want to start making money from it and do more of the long form of the YouTube side. So yeah, those are my two last
Yeah,
pieces of advice for
I
anybody.
think that's super cool. And I like that. I'm actually still working on my Atlanta POV because I do have POVs. The big thing right now is I need to find a terabyte, like an
SD
SD
card,
card that can hold like a
not
storage
cheap.
for a whole show. Um, but besides that, like I do relatively both. Like this is a reason why I do a podcast is one, it networking. This is like really cool. I've had this podcast pretty much going for almost a year now.
That's
Um,
awesome, dude. That's awesome.
and it's it doesn't gain like crazy views, like videos pop here and there. Um, but it's more of like just having the backlog of videos out there. So when I do more, I go full time and I'm doing a show every week, and then I'm doing a vendor POV, and then vlogging is something I want to do. Like doing all that, um, it builds that foundation of like, okay, this guy's been doing it for a while. Like you can literally go and see like the past 42
Every
episodes of
video,
this
yeah,
podcast,
yeah.
and it's kind of like timestamps in a way like that, and being like for example, I made a video at the beginning of this year. It was like my plans for 2024 or 2025,
Yeah.
and most of them I think have been beat. I remember one of them was like, I want to do at least one Collecticon, if not two, and now
There
I'm
you
hopefully
go.
on track to do three. So it's like all that type of stuff,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's like I'm finding a balance between both of them, and I think it's really cool. But
Yeah.
definitely for people like at home, like just do content, just post it,
Yeah. Literally just turn on
just
a
do it.
camera and do it. Like people get caught up in like, dude, I get asked all the time, what camera, what mic do I buy? Brother, your phone and
Hmm.
hit record. Like
My
literally.
first my first vendor POV was literally just my camera, like just my
Yeah.
phone out,
Yeah. No,
and it
literally.
was like I wasn't able to comp stuff out because my phone was out, and it
Yeah.
was
Just
horrible.
clear some
But
storage and hit record, buddy. That's all you gotta
yeah,
do. Um,
exactly.
so yeah, man, that is those are just the last two a piece of advice I wanted to give. And no trade ups, zero, no trade
Yes,
ups, no trade ups, bro.
yes. I like that shirt that you have with it.
Thank you, bro. Dude, vendors send their kids to do trade ups, and it just does not, just ruins it for everybody, man. I give kids free packs all the time. Trade up,
Mhm.
no. I'll give you some for free. No trade ups though, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
But
But
that's it, dude.
anyway,
That's it, yeah.
yeah. Anyway, that's really cool. I don't know if you have anything else that you'd like to say, but I thank you for coming on.
Dude,
What's
dude,
Flex?
thank
Thank you.
you for having me, Rocco. It's a
Yeah,
pleasure.
this has been
Um, shout out, I mean, really the only thing, shout out Will Lumos TCG. That's my dog. It's my best friend. He told me to shout him out. He's such a dork. Will, you are the goat. Very good local vendor buddy of mine. And Rocco, I mean, you personally, I hope to see you again, man. See you around in the
yes.
gauntlet. I wish you luck on your little journey, your series. I'll be tuning in. And yeah, dude, just thank you so much for having me on, dude.
Yeah,
For real.
of course, I appreciate it. Where can people find you?
West Collects with an X at the end on everything: TikTok, IG, YouTube's. And like I do have an eBay, don't really post stuff on there, but yeah, I am super active on my IG, posting all sorts of garbage on there all the time. Try and do like a weekly vendor long form POVs on my YouTube, so go subscribe there. But yeah, I do all sorts of stuff, trying to have fun, keeping it real, man. I think it's important to keep it real. A lot of fakies in the hobby, so I was trying to keep it real, for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And thank you
Yes, sir.
everyone for
Thank you for having
watching.
me.
This has been the 42nd episode of the PokéSells official podcast. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that type of stuff. Really helps. And we will see you guys next week.